How's it going, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I'd like to start this video by saying that a little personal thing with me. I'm kind of a shy person. I'm making these videos because I genuinely want to help educate the new guys getting into the 6'5" world. Um, you know, educate or helping people, kind of diagnose their problems if they have a new 6'5", talking with the oldest 6'5" veterans and the current 6'5" owners. I love talking to all of you guys. I'm kind of a shy person, and this is also me kind of getting out of my little personal bubble. But every once in a while, um, I frig up my words in just about every video. I stumble, I get stuttery, shit like that. Especially when I'm thinking of you guys sitting on the other side of the screen. I get real nervous, but I do my best. And every once in a while, I fuck up. I'm human. It happens. I have no shame in that. But I greatly appreciate when you guys catch me on it. I frig up my words. I did in my Fast 165 video, and I was quick to correct myself. But in my buying a 6.5 video, I mentioned blue smoke and head gaskets in the same sentence. And I thank you, Dustin Franks, for catching me on this. Because blue smoke and head gaskets have nothing to do with each other. Again, I fucked up my words, and I'm an honest person. I admit my faults. So let's talk about blowing smoke, whether it be black, white, gray, blue. Let's talk about it. So black smoke is the one we'll start out with. What is black smoke? In a nutshell, you're basically throwing your hard-earned dollar out the tailpipe. that's all it is. Black smoke is unburned fuel, is a improper fuel-air mixture, translating into just basically raw fuel blowing out the tailpipe. Whether it be you're overfueling or you're not getting enough air into the combustion chamber. Black smoke, whether you do it or not, and I'll be honest, I have fun with my truck. I use it for whatever I want to. It's not a trailer baby. It's not a pavement princess. It's mine, and I will have fun and do whatever the fuck I want to do with my truck. So every once in a while, a puff of black smoke comes out the tailpipe. That's perfectly fine. But what is that black smoke doing to your money pit of an investment? And they're not super money pits, but it is an expensive investment, especially if you're just getting into it. You're kind of working at a fast food restaurant like I did, and you're making pennies on the dollar, and you want to try and save this thing as much as possible. So what is that black smoke doing? So aside from just wasting fuel, wasting your money, blowing it out the tailpipe, looking cool for your friends, and having fun, you're getting your exhaust gas temperatures hot and EGTs. And what is that doing? So you're getting your combustion chamber super, super hot when you are just rolling coal, and all the time. You're getting your EGTs hot, your combustion chamber. What is that heat doing? One, you're prematurely failing your turbo. You're getting it really hot. You're smoking the bearings out of it. You're just wearing it till its absolute end prematurely. You're also getting your combustion chamber super, super hot in that it's heating up your block. It's, wearing out your piston rings. And I have seen it blowing black smoke too much, crack a piston. Basically, when you get your combustion chamber super, super hot, you're cooking the top of your piston. And you'll eventually, if you're doing it all the time, going to crack a piston, just roast out your turbo. You're getting your EGT so hot that you're just prematurely wearing parts that, especially if you're trying to save money, buying a 6.5 instead of, not able to afford the more pricey ones, you want to try and save it as much as possible. So rolling coal all the time, no bueno. I'm all for having fun and leaving a black cloud in front of some dink who's riding my ass. It makes me personally feel a little better doing it, but that's a serious issue, and that can lead to if you're wearing out your piston rings, getting your combustion chamber super hot, getting your block hot, you're wearing out your piston rings. Eventually, you're going to lose power, and you're going to be doing a rebuild. And if you're trying to save money again, that is such a big cost on top of already buying one, wanting to build it, or a lift on it, new mirrors, everything like that. So save your money. Don't just fucking be a dink. But I'm not here to tell you what to do. I just, try to save your money. But don't prematurely fail your engine. So why, if you're trying not to blow black smoke, what might be some issues that it's just rolling coal for no reason? You're not even hard on the throttle pedal. If you have a stock fuel system and stock turbo setup, intake setup, you still got your vacuum pump hooked up. Every time I've seen this, either the vacuum pump has shit the bed on you. The vacuum pump was notorious for going out. Basically, what the vacuum pump does is it controls the actuation of your wastegate on your turbo, allowing it to correct itself, more or less, to give you the right amount of air pressure to the combustion chamber to match the fuel. The vacuum pump is mechanically driven on the serpentine belt, and the faster your RPMs go, of course, the more vacuum it's going to produce, causing your wastegate to stay closed, allowing your turbo to spool up and supply your combustion chamber with the desired amount of air to match the fuel. So if your vacuum pump goes out, it's not creating a vacuum for the wastegate to actuate properly. On this truck I own now and my old black truck, the vacuum pumps were originally hooked up. I've deleted it on this one and my old black one. Super simple to do. If you get a code, you'll have to figure out how to delete the little check engine light. But we'll talk about that later. Delete your vacuum pump, put a manual spring wastegate on the turbo, and that will allow it to operate off the pressure from the exhaust versus the function of the vacuum pump. I've seen many vacuum pumps go out. I've changed a bunch of them because people wanted the vacuum pump still attached. I've deleted a bunch of them. The vacuum pump is just another wear item. It's a parasite. My suggestion is get rid of it. Another reason why you might be blowing black smoke is your turbo itself might be bad. If you have a few blades broken off for no apparent reason, or your shaft plate on your turbo is too great, it's chipping away slowly at your compressor wheel on the turbo housing. Your turbo could be going bad and not supplying enough air to the intake manifold into the combustion chamber. I've seen that a few times. The GM series turbos are pretty stout if you leave them alone, or don't run 22 psi like I do on them. But I digress. So black smoke is either you're if you are leaving it alone, you basically have a stock setup and you're just pumping black smoke out the tailpipe, something's wrong. You don't want to be doing that for super, super long periods of time. You'll really wear out your engine doing that. So, like those are some of the things to look out for. Of course, there are other things that could be causing black smoke. If you experience other things, please leave them down in the comments below. I greatly appreciate talking to you guys. Like-minded individuals who want to see these things keep going. But let's talk about white smoke. So what is white smoke? And say the truck's cold and a little bit of white smoke comes out the tailpipe until it warms up. That's not really that big of an issue, especially like if it's really, really cold, like a cold start. That's just lightly a little bit of unburned fuel just because the block hasn't warmed up. That's common and that's fine. But the truck is warm, it has white smoke, little white haze, shit like that. You're burning coolant, and this is where things start to get a little pricey. So burning coolant, of course, is never good, and the first part of noticing you're burning coolant is you'll be driving down the road and all of a sudden your check coolant light comes on. And then you pull over to the side of the road. Well, don't pull the cap off your hot ass engine and coolant bottle, and because it will just blow out in your face. Don't do that. But ultimately, especially if you don't have an external leak, if you are getting white smoke and the truck is hot, you're burning coolant, and you'll see the check engine light. You may, if you have a nice good nose, your exhaust will have a real sweet smell, especially if like you're only seeing a little bit of haze. Poke your head underneath there, get you a sniff. If it's sweet smell, you're burning coolant. Never good. That can be a couple different things. So the most common thing that I've noticed with white smoke is your head gaskets are bad. That's no fun. Kind of a pricey thing to fix, of course. You got to take the heads off, replace the gasket, get your head sent out, checked, make sure they're still good before you throw it back on. That's just what I do. Burning coolant, of course, is never good. You could also have a cracked block, and I've only seen this a few times. Of course, your coolant is roaming around inside your coolant passages in your block, keeping the engine cool. If you get a bad block and you're burning coolant and it's not your head gaskets, it could also be that you have a cracked block and somehow that coolant is getting into your combustion chamber. You're burning coolant, white smoke, it gets pricey. With a cracked block, of course, you'll be getting a new block. Full rebuild at that point. With head gaskets, if you're lucky, you'll just be tearing the heads off, doing head gaskets, and to each their own if you send your heads out or not to get checked. I personally always do. But that's just peace of mind for me, of course. Just my opinion. But white smoke, you're burning coolant, no fun, really gets pricey. If you are going to look and buy a 6.5 and you see white smoke, you notice a sweet smell to the exhaust, take that into consideration. Maybe you can talk the seller down, Or maybe that's one of your deterring factors of, okay, this truck is going to cost me X amount of dollars plus X amount of dollars to fix what's wrong with it. You don't want to swallow the pill on buying a 6.5 for how much ever you pick one up for, and then bite another big chunk off replacing the head gaskets, especially if you don't have the money for it. It's just something to keep in mind. Let's move on to blue-gray smoke. So this is where things get real pricey. Blue-gray smoke is you're burning oil. One way or another, you're burning oil. Burning oil, of course, like coolant, is never good. You don't want blue, gray, or white, but blue, gray, you're burning oil. And that can be a number of different things, such as cracked piston, bad valve seats, bad turbo, bad piston rings. So let's talk about bad valve seats, because this is the thing that Dustin Frank brought up. Your valve, of course, in your head has a little seat that cone shape sits into, to put it in layman's terms. If that valve seat is cracked and the oil from underneath your valve cover is dumping into on top of the valve and getting in to your combustion chamber, you're burning oil. I've also seen, and this ties in with blowing black smoke. You know, we talked about cracked pistons, burning your rings up. If you notice your truck is low on power and it's blowing black smoke, your rings could be bad. You're basically, what's happening is crankcase pressure from your motor is getting into your combustion chamber, and all those oil vapors are getting in there, and you're burning it, and it's blowing it out the tailpipe. Or you've cracked the top of your piston and the same thing's happening. Your crankcase oil vapors are getting into your combustion chamber. You also notice with this that you have excessive blow-by coming out of your oil cap or out of your dipstick tube. It's definitely things to look out for if you're buying one. If you've had it for a while and your truck is starting to do this, maybe you want to get rid of it because you can't afford to get it fixed, but you want to be able to have it running for the person who's buying it to see that it is running, but it's a little rough. Unfortunately, you might lose money on it, but that's just the way it goes. I've also seen, and winding your turbo all the way out like mine is, especially if you do 22 psi for a long period of time, you're going to smoke that turbo out fairly quick. I only use the max 22 whenever there's somebody in front of me and they won't friggin' move. So I got to get out around them, but I hardly go up to that PSI with my GM5 turbo. It's just there if I need it, and I don't run it long. I don't get it hot, too hot. But you'll notice that your intake, there's the crankcase breather, that the hose goes directly into your intake. That's crankcase vapors being sucked in to the turbo. But if you roast out your turbo, roast out your bearings and your seals, and you're just blowing blue smoke, your turbo could be bad. You burn them seals out of it and you're just dumping oil into your intake. And I have seen 165 run away because it was just pumping oil into the intake, And if your motor runs away and you do not stop it immediately, you're buying a new motor. That's the best way I can explain it for you. If your 6.5 runs away, you aren't able to stop it like instantly, you're buying a new motor. What happens when it runs away is it is getting so hot and running on its own oil. All your oil pressure is gone because it'll run until it runs out of oil. So your motor's getting super hot. You're cooking bearings, you're cooking your pistons, cooking your rings, turbo shot, and everything is just toast at that point. And you're going to be buying a new block and a new motor essentially. Burning oil is never good. Look for the tall tale signs. Seriously, if you start seeing a little bit of white smoke or a little bit of blue smoke, you have excessive blow by. You notice a little bit more oil in the intake than what you think you should be having it, and it's going to have oil residue just because of that crankcase breather getting into the intake. But if you just start seeing so much oil in the intake and you're just blowing blue smoke, get it fixed. Don't let these things die. But I hope this was able to help you guys out. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, I'm a shy person. I'm sorry I fuck up, but I'm human. It happens. If I ever say something that's a little bit doesn't make sense, please correct me on it. I'll be sure to correct myself. We're all human. We all bleed red. It's okay. But again, thank you all so much for watching. If you like my truck and you would like to see more videos on it, please consider subscribing. I greatly appreciate it. I thank you all so much for subscribing. Go look at my other videos. If I need to redo any of the older videos or you have any video suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. If you're not comfortable leaving them in the comments, get a hold of me, Facebook, Instagram. I'll leave those in the description box below. If you are interested in other IDI trucks, please consider going to IDI Legends on Instagram, Facebook. If you're interested in IDI diesel merch, please go check out IDIlegends.com. We got hats, we got shirts, we got stickers. Again, greatly appreciate it. Don't feel obligated, but thank you all so much for watching. Please share your blowing smoke experience. Do you just blow black clouds because you love to have fun too? What have you run into with blowing white smoke or blue smoke? I love talking to you guys in the comments. You guys are awesome. Greatly appreciate talking to like-minded individuals like yourself, even though I stutter and frig up my words. But thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one, Legends.